The craziest movie you've ever seen in your entire life.
Hello, Adam Ryan Donato.
Hello, welcome to another Hard Review, and I am here to talk about The Substance. This is one of the crazier movies to come out in recent memory. Now, I was interested in this movie. It won Best Screenplay at Cannes, I believe. My buddy saw it opening night. He loved it so much. He said it was like his favorite movie of the year and top 4 all time, which I'm super jealous about. That's awesome when you get to have that experience. So I immediately made this my priority. I think it came out the same day as Transformers 1, which is a movie that I'm very excited to go see. But I prioritized The Substance because I was like, this sounds like more of what Twitter is buzzing about. What seems to be the draw to this movie is how shocking it is. It definitely probably has more plot elements that I'd rather not be spoiled compared to a Transformer, because I know that Megatron and Optimus Prime aren't going to be best friends forever. So I am quite the night owl. I woke up early though. I did all my chores and stuff early so that I can go before my shift to check out The Substance. It's very long, 2.5 hours almost. I think it's like 2:24. And I found myself disappointed, and I was disappointed because I had a hard time relating with the character, the main character in the movie, and vibing with the themes of the movie. Now, it's no secret what this movie is about. I'm going to just talk in depth about how I feel, what it was about. So if you want no spoilers, then I'm sorry, this one's not for you. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think it's an interesting piece of art and you should go check it out. It definitely made me think a lot. So it's obvious to everybody what this movie is about. It's obviously about female body expectations and how women are treated by the entertainment industry, and especially when they're used for their physical attractiveness and when they age out of said physical attractiveness, how they're kind of cast aside and, thrown out like they were nothing. And really just how disgusting Hollywood is, which we all obviously know that it is. Now, that overarching theme I definitely vibe with, but what was difficult for me here was the main character was entirely unsympathetic. She didn't seem to have anything else in her life that she saw value in herself in. She does her little workout show. She is a famous celebrity for this studio and whatnot. She's clearly like a fashion and sex icon, clearly, but she doesn't have any friends. She doesn't have any family. She's this very rich celebrity, lives in this awesome penthouse apartment. She doesn't seem to have any other aspirations or goals. She was pretty. She was enjoying doing her little show. And then Dennis Quaid, who wasn't even really acting, he's just that disgusting. But once she gets kicked off of the show and kind of cast out like that, then, she gets desperate. She gets into a car accident. She goes to the doctor, and one of the side doctor nurse guys, they slip her a little thing, and they're like, hey, you should check out this thing called The Substance. Which, by the way, taking that opportunity to do something like that, stupid. You immediately deserve whatever's coming to you if you do shady drugs like that. You have no idea what they're about. You have all this money. And that's another thing that's annoying about it. It's Demi Moore. She's not ugly. I understand she's older. She's still a very attractive woman. But I get it. As you get older, you see the wrinkles and things don't, stand up as they should, and they don't bounce as they should or whatever. I get it. But she takes this substance. Obviously, it's absolutely horrific. A younger version of herself comes out of her back. It's very disgusting. And I gotta say, I know I'm talking negatively about how I felt about the movie. Wonderful body horror. The practical effects and the makeup, absolutely stellar. This movie is terrifying to look at very often, especially in the third act. But yeah, so now she has this younger version of herself, and the whole gist is that you could spend, I think it's 1 week on, 1 week off kind of thing. Eventually, over time, what happens is the younger version of herself starts to abuse the older version of herself, stealing more time. This stealing of time has a negative physical impact on the host. So, Demi Moore now has, a fucked up finger. And Margaret Qualley, who's the younger version of herself, is, thriving, dancing in, this, bikini for whatever workout show that she's doing. They very clearly say throughout that, these two people are one. These are two halves of a whole. So when Demi Moore's like, oh yeah, this other girl is doing this to me, and it's like, well, no, you are doing it to you. You are not a good person. And then she really goes on this downward spiral. She becomes this ugly, witch. She tries to kill Margaret Qualley, who tries to kill her. And then Margaret Qualley has this big New Year's Eve, party that she's supposed to be the host of. This is supposed to be, the pinnacle of her career. So she injects herself with the substance. It creates, I think it's called, Monstro version of the two of them together. So you see Demi Moore's face is like coming out of the back, and it's like just awful. It's so hideous and disgusting. It kind of reminded me of like Pizza the Hut from the Spaceballs movie. So then she still goes to the New Year's Eve party. She presents herself, you know, she's got her little mask on, but obviously the mask comes off, and she presents herself to everybody, and everybody shits on her, is like, yo, you're disgusting, and they throw stuff on her, and then she, I don't know, I think she starts bleeding, and then it just like gets everywhere, and then she eventually like leaves, melts on her like little Hollywood star. And then the next morning it's washed away, because that's what Hollywood does. It eats you up, it spits you out, and it doesn't care, and it'll pretend like they love you still. They'll pretend, it'll be very surface level, like, no, we still have so much love for you, Demi Moore. Look at your star on the sidewalk. We still hold reverence and respect for everything that you did. But really, no, it's a cutthroat industry, and, you know, that's just for show, and they actually don't give a crap about her at all. I pity her. I feel bad for her and her situation, even though she created the situation, and it was her negative perception of herself and her life that caused that. I kind of wish that there was a more positive female role model in the movie, and that they more so made it clear that it's also on Demi Moore's character why she's feeling this way and why what's happening to her is happening to her. Metaphorically, at the end of the movie, blood is on everyone's hands. You know what I mean? As if to say, like, hey, this is all your guys' fault. As if I didn't take some, like, nasty, like, shady substance and then abuse myself. I don't know. I understand that there's still a lot of inequities when it comes to men and women in the entertainment industry, but, like, we live in a world where we're about to have, like, a female president. So it's really hard for you to sell me on the concept that this middle-aged woman who's getting older has no value to bring forth to the world when she was previously one of the most attractive women in the world. Now she's just like getting older. I'm sorry time happened. I'm sorry I don't feel bad for this like super rich celebrity who has this super nice home, probably could retire right then and there and just want for naught for the rest of her life. You know, she's probably have plenty of money, and it's like, well, why don't you have friends? Why don't you have family? Why are you alone? Why don't you have other things that you're interested in? Why don't you have other things that you see value in yourself? I understand the negative impact that it can have on an individual when society is beating you down with this perception of you, but we are the masters of our own universe, and so I think that this movie really takes agency away from the individual by saying that there's no blood on her hands. I mean, she pays the price at the end of the movie, but still, like, I wish the movie more so condemned her character or gave us an alternative positive example. If all you see in yourself is your physical beauty, I'm sorry, but that's super silly, because it's inevitable that eventually that's going to go away. I'm sorry that's how time works. I'm sorry that you're eventually going to get older and you're just going to have to be content with all your money. I don't know, so I just wish that point was hammered home. Recent movies have come out where there's a character who has a physical or some kind of disadvantage at this point in their life. They don't let it tear them down. They hold their head up high, and they have a great perspective, and they attack the day, and they're super positive, and they're proactive. They have a multitude of interests. They overcome physical disadvantage because they have the power of self. You know, they don't let the world tell them how they should view themselves. They have their perspective on themselves, and that's what makes us strong. I mean, you can't control other people. You can't control the entertainment industry. You can't control your perverted boss who, like, why do you care what he thinks? Why do you still want to be involved in a company where a piece of shit like that is at the head of it? And I just didn't understand her entire motivation throughout most of the movie, because I was like, okay, good, get away from this disgusting business that you're in. So not only am I like upset about time, think about that, the hubris of celebrities. They're so out of touch with society that they don't play by the normal rules that we all play with. Oh, I'm getting older and I'm starting to have wrinkles and whatnot. Nope, I'm too rich and untouchable. I am the Demi Moore. So I am above the law, and I can circumvent these disadvantages by doing super risky, awful things like she does. That's how she pays the price in the end. And I think it's totally justified what happens to her. I mean, obviously this is super like horrific, and no one deserves to have that happen to him. Maybe some people. Because at the end of the day, she was just a person who was a part of an abusive system, wanted to return to her former glory, held too tight, too desperately tight to what she saw as her life. Instead of feeling bad for her, instead of relating to her, I just pitied her. I was just like, oh, you're just like kind of a piece of shit. You suck. You failed at life. If this is all that you had, and now you're at the point where that is like coming back to you, you know, if you run into a brick wall, you're gonna like fall down. Like, I don't know what you mean. Like why am I supposed to feel like, oh no? But all of that aside, this movie is like 30 minutes too long, because it's very simple. You know what it's about like right away. I don't know why it needed to be 2.5 hours to to prove that point. A lot of the shocking stuff in this movie, I don't think is too shocking. There was a development in the movie. I mean, I've already talked about the entire plot, but once she injects herself the second time, and we get that monster version of herself, I got really excited. That's a super interesting development that happens in this movie. And like I said before, the practical effects, just so awesome, amazing. This movie is horrifying at times. I really like this director. I want to see what her previous movie was. I want to see what she does next. I am fully willing to admit this is my perspective on the film. This is my perspective on a topic that's really not even about me. I'm a man. I've never been a very attractive woman celebrity, so I don't know how absolutely detrimental it is. I don't know. All I'm saying is I think that we as human beings, that we as individuals should find our self-worth in ourselves. That's why it's called self-worth. Like, why are we allowing ourselves? I can't control other people, but I can control how I view myself, how I see the world, what I do. This movie really conflicted with a core belief about life that I have. But like I said, I'm not a woman, and so if you were like, oh, he's a stupid man, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, but I watched a movie, and this is how I felt about the movie. Dennis Quaid's really awesome in this movie. I mean, I hate him and he sucks, but like, he's awesome in this. Demi Moore, it's funny, my buddy was like, oh, she should get nominated for Best Actress, and I'm like, no, she didn't do any. She was on the floor most of the time. Margot Qualley's also good in this movie. Yeah, I think there's a lot of great ingredients here, and I definitely enjoyed watching it. It was definitely something that stuck with me and something that made me think, and I pontificated about the movie long after I saw it. And so that's super valuable. Like, I'd rather watch a movie like this. Like, I know usually a 3 out of 5 is like a bad thing, but a 3 out of 5 in this scenario is like, there's some damning things about it, but I do like it. Whereas other 3 out of 5s are like, I mildly enjoyed it. Like, this isn't like, oh, I mildly enjoyed it. Like, this is a very big mixed bag for me in the best way possible. I'm really jealous that I didn't fall in love with this movie like everybody else. I think over time it could go up to a 4 if I let go of this dumb vision of how I think that people should view the world and themselves. But yeah, that's what the movie made me think of. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm at a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5 for this movie. Go check it out in theaters if you still can. It's quite the big success, actually, for the type of movie that it is. So definitely go check it out. And it's really affecting people. People are really liking it. People are walking out. It's exactly the type of movie that we should be making in Hollywood today. So I'm really happy that it exists. 3 out of 5. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Why don't you guys tell me what the craziest movie of the year was? Yeah, I didn't think this was that crazy, honestly. And if I had to pick the craziest movie, I don't know. Furiosa is pretty nuts sometimes. But the craziest movie, Kinds of Kindness.